Personal notice. Danger's my stock and trade. If the job's too tough for you to handle, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Standard Oil Company of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invites you to Let George Do It. Christmas in January, another adventure of George Valentine.
Looking for a picture, lady?
Oh, hello, buddy. Hey, how much is that one?
This one?
Yeah.
The oil painting in the building? It's a street in Paris.
Looks more like Oswego.
No, somewhere on the left bank, I presume. You see, the painter lived
never
in...
mind the travel notes, Jack. Just how much, huh?
Well, I'm afraid it's probably a good deal more than you could afford, sister.
Buddy, you see that big white convertible out there at the curb? Well, is it yours?
Oh, well, I didn't mean exactly.
What do I gotta
that,
do? Wear tights? The name's Charity Dufresne. I'll buy you a seeing-eye dog.
Oh, Mr. Frayne. Well,
yeah.
Oh, I'm awfully sorry. Gosh, I've even got pin-ups of you myself. Holy smoke. I guess I've seen every one of your pictures 3 or 4 times.
Well, then you should pay more attention to details, like my face. Now, come on, fan club. How much, huh?
Huh? Oh, the picture.
Yeah.
Well, look, if it's for your own house, I mean, you would... who sent you to this place?
Don't flatter yourself. It's a junk shop. And don't worry, I won't tell anybody. I want to buy a gift, that's all.
Oh, I see. Well, if you're giving it to someone you like,
I know what kind of a picture it is. I'm giving it to somebody who should use it as a winding sheet, I hope.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's very appropriate. It's $250.
Here, Jesse James.
If you'll wait just a second, I'll wrap it up for you so nobody will notice.
I'll wrap it myself, thank you. I brought my own stuff. This, buddy, is going to be something real special. You know who it's for? An octopus. You know what it's for him for? A Christmas present. Yeah, in January.
Yes, that's my dear Charity. As wholesome and appetizing as a tube of ant paste. Oh, but she adores me. Worship is the proper word, perhaps. She's like a yo-yo to which I hold the string.
Yeah, sure. But, look, she got out of the car, Mr. Wick, and walked into the shop.
My dear Mr. Valentine, you will keep your eye on the doings of Miss Charity Dufresne. How about that, Miss Brooks? Did he just watch the doings, or did he let his eye wander to what's already been done by her beneficent creator?
Well, I was right there with him. She's very attractive, but
I'm trying to tell you what she did, Mr. Wick, if you'll just let me.
Would you like a drambuie, either one of you? The only drink worth drinking. Because like a woman, a drink should be stimulating to the senses, but easy to see through. Jukes, where's that bottle of drambuie you brought to town from the hovel? My country place, Mr. Valentine.
Well, no thanks. Really, Mr. Wick.
How should I know, boss? I've been busy with the lights.
Look, Mr. Wick, I'm trying to give you a report.
Of course you are, my dear man. Of course you are. You heard her call me an octopus, you said. Isn't that wonderful, Duke?
Yeah, I guess so. You mean one of them things?
Don't you wish you had thought of it? Jukes is so prosaic when he calls me names. Used to be a mule skinner's apprentice, I believe.
I was a male nurse. I was studying to be a pharmacist.
Yes. Let's not bore the people, Jukes. Just run and fetch them a brandy.
My name is really Anthony.
Of course, dear boy, they understand. Mr. Valentine knows a Jukes when he sees one. Now hop.
All right, boss. I'll see what I can find.
My companion, isn't he delightful? The jester, the court fool. And I'm tied to him like a millstone. I've been ill, you know, so my wife hired him to fetch and carry. And then when I was helpless and at his mercy night and day, she ran away. Makes a rather charming story, don't you think? I call it the Frau's Revenge.
Yeah. I didn't even know you were married, Mr. Wick.
Oh, miserably. Don't you ever read my column? Good heavens, man, let me inform you. It's the sort of rounded anecdote Walcott would have adored. She was my secretary, you see, in years past, until in my bestial fashion I decided I could save a good bit of expense if I married her and stopped her salary. However, fate in his hairy-handed way...
Never mind. I've heard enough vocabulary for one day. I'm a busy man, Mr. Wick. You don't want to check over my report? Okay, forget it. Goodbye.
I could recite your stupid report by heart, Mr. Valentine. I asked you to observe the suspicious actions of Miss Dufresne.
Look, she only bought a picture. I wouldn't have taken the job if I'd have known you just wanted me to snoop.
An original oil painting of a Paris building and street. Now tell me, there was a lamp in the background, wasn't there? And two children rolling a red hood.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Of course, I don't suppose you noticed the name, the artist's signature.
Well, it was kind of a funny painting. Didn't mean anything to me. Something like Petrillo, that's all I read out of it.
What?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Oh, Mr. Valentine. Oh, my poor little yo-yo will be spinning so fast she won't know what hit her.
What on earth are you talking about, Mr. Wick?
It will all be in print, dear one. I never give away the end of a story before it's written. Tell me, do you think green lights will look well on a blue Christmas tree?
A what?
Mr. Valentine, you have your check. Goodbye. Out at the hovel tonight, it's Christmas, didn't you know? Yes, in January. Now get out of here. Run along. I'm a busy man.
Not so fast, Buster. Not so fast, please. What's the big joke in this picture deal? What kind of a stunt are you up to? You dragged me into being a party to something I know nothing about.
Curious. Life and death, Mr. Valentine. The death of pride. The world is a yo-yo, didn't you know, for a man like me? So read about it tomorrow in my obituary column.
Christmas in January, yo-yos, paintings. What kind of a loony character?
Trio, George, that's it. And he painted Paris streets and buildings.
Huh?
And you said she bought it for $250.
Yeah, that's right.
An original painting by Utrillo.
Huh?
Would you like to find out just what kind of a snide story Mr. Wick is getting ready to write? That I'm afraid we helped him to write?
Now, look, don't rub it in. What don't I know, besides everything?
Come on. We're going to a real art store, George.
Huh?
Because you want to bet the lead of this story will be all about Miss Charity Dufresne buying a fraudulent painting? Well, darling, a real Utrillo should sell for at least $15,000 or $20,000. And not just on Christmas.
$17,250.
Yeah, well, look, friend, we already know that. We found it in the catalog at one of the other places we went. But
There's lots of new interest in your trio right now, you know.
But that shop we told you about, it must sell fake paintings, isn't that right?
It must. It does. Copy and imitations. But it doesn't always bother to mark them as such, well, like the one you saw.
All right, but Brooksy, look. So the dame bought him a fake painting for a gift on a fake Christmas. She doesn't like him anyway.
On a fake what?
Oh, well, never mind. Enough people are confused already. But look, Angel, I don't understand why that should make the old goat so happy. How my telling him about it would give him any hold over her.
Mr. Valentine, I, too, am an ardent reader of Francis Xavier Wick, his column, his books.
Yeah?
He has a passion for what he calls the rounded anecdote, I believe.
Huh?
Well, I haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about, but mine is the gallery which owned the original of that Utrillo painting, you know, the real one.
Of course. That's why we came here out of curiosity to confirm that price of $17,000.
Yes, and you leave in greater curiosity, too, young lady. And I'll be worse off than you are, because I sold that real Utrillo for just that price and sent it out not 2 minutes before you walked in to a man who phoned. The old goat himself. to Francis Xavier Wick.
What?
Yes, he said he wanted it wrapped as a Christmas gift. He was going to present it to a woman named, Charity Dufresne.
Brooksy, we're out of order. Curiosity killed a cat.
Shh, George, that one's coming back.
Mr. Valentine, Mr. Frayne seems to be busy right now. She's on the hall telephone, talking to an art dealer back in town.
Oh, yeah. Well, we only came out here to the hovel to find out...
Oh, you're quite welcome. There've been guests coming and going all evening. It's Christmas here, didn't you know?
How could we forget?
Mr. Wick was ill at the real Christmas time, but of course he can't celebrate it unless he can get out of bed, unless he can dress up as Santa Claus.
Oh, well, that explains part of
Yes,
why...
unless he can give presents and receive them in person. Wouldn't be Christmas without people, would it? Wouldn't be anything without people, would it? Around him all the time. His court, his fools, his... Oh, well, come in. Join the party. The great man has just served liqueurs. Perhaps you'd like some. Join me in a creme de menthe. Maybe you'd rather have hemlock.
Oh, wait a minute. Look here. We know we're prying. We only want to find...
You came out to warn Mr. Frayne that Mr. Wick... What he was up to, of course. Well, I'm sorry. She's already found out. She's crying with embarrassment, and she's at the telephone trying to buy the most expensive painting in the gallery for Mr. Wick.
Oh, it makes less and less sense.
You see all the paintings around here? Mr. Frayne has bought many of them. Real ones. Thousands and thousands of dollars of gifts to him in years past. So this year, she got caught trying to give him a pony, that's all. I'm not sorry for her.
I get it. She hates him. But why does she give him things at all? Hey, what's he do? Blackmail people?
Oh, blackmail. Mr. Valentine, he tortures people.
I say, have you seen him anywhere? He served the drinks and then went out for a minute, and I've got to be running back to... Oh.
Mr. Keller, of course I haven't seen him. I've been here for an hour myself. He hasn't even spoken to me.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Wick. I didn't know.
Hold it, please. You're Mrs. Wick?
Well, who did you think I was? A dear, dear friend like Mr. Keller here? Like Charity Dufresne? Mr. Valentine, do you know what this man gave my husband tonight? A Cadillac.
If you don't mind, Mrs. Wick.
Oh, yes, it embarrasses him. It embarrasses all of them. Well, come in here under the Christmas tree. If you can stand the hideous green light, I'll show you the biggest pile of loot
Mrs. Wick, forget it, will you please?
Christmas in January. Christmas for Santa Claus. Diamond cigarette lighters, statues, paintings, money. And all from torture, Mr. Valentine.
Just lying there. I saw him just lying there, the door to the bathroom, and that hideous Santa Claus.
Be quiet, Mr. Frayne.
Lying on his face, the side of the door. Wick, Francis.
Here, I'll give you a hand.
If I could turn him over, he must have fainted.
Wait a minute. Yeah, we'd better move him. But if his pulse means anything, Santa Claus Wick is dead.
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Did you know that 60% of all auto repairs can be avoided? Yes, 60%. When motorists follow one simple rule. Bring in your car for chassis lubrication every 1,000 miles. When you get a chassis lubrication for your car at your standard station or independent Chevron gas station at regular intervals, you're money ahead. These men service more than 50 different wear spots that can cause trouble when neglected, and they take the time to do it right. It's a car saver service that assures longer car life and a smoother, cushioned ride free of squeaks and rattles. And note this, if your car has an automatic transmission, you'll get the correct factory-approved fluid for lubricating this precision-made unit. So avoid repair bills. Keep your car young. Every 1,000 miles, get chassis lubrication service at an independent Chevron gas station or a standard station, where they say and mean, we take better care of your car. back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine. Francis Xavier Wick, the columnist, the gossip, the collector of rounded anecdotes. The man who this year was celebrating Christmas in January. And why? Apparently because he likes to collect presents, too. He wouldn't miss Christmas for anything. Well, if your name is George Valentine, you wouldn't either. Yes, by now you've learned enough about the man in the Santa Claus suit to know that his vast collection of friends and retainers are not exactly loyal to him. In fact, one of them has just murdered him.
Murder, George?
Well, there's no blood, Angel.
No marks on the back of his head under the cap.
Don't touch him, Mr. Keller. I'll do that.
Whatever you say. It wouldn't be surprising if he were murdered, I suppose. People all around him, always with him, and yet easily the most disliked man in the world.
You should know, Mr. Keller. I understand you gave him a car tonight as a gift.
I'd rather not incriminate myself, if you don't mind.
Well, I don't like to disturb the mask and whiskers, but...
George!
Yeah. His face. It's not Mr. Wick at all.
It's the court jester, the fool.
It's Jukes who's been murdered. Poisoned. Look at his face. But where is Francis Xavier Wick?
But I saw Wick, I tell you, before he put on that ridiculous costume. Or rather, he had just part of it on.
When was that?
A half an hour earlier, I suppose. I don't know. It was before Mr. Frayne got here.
What about the other guests? The people who brought all those other presents?
They'd gone. They'd already left.
Just who are you, Mr. Keller? What are you doing here?
What? Good heavens, man. I'm a banker, but that doesn't have anything to do with it.
For some reason, you give huge gifts every Christmas to Mr. Wick. Just like Mr. Frayne, like the others.
Well, stop harping on it. It's a fact, that's all. I'm certainly not going to explain it. Why should I? I didn't try to kill the man.
Well, somebody who was left in the house must have.
All right. But it's Jukes who's dead, not Wick.
And you can't even tell me when they changed parts, when Jukes started playing Santa Claus?
No. What of it? Charity Dufresne told you where we all were, and I'll confirm it.
Mr. Valentine. Mr. Valentine.
Yeah, right here, Mrs. Wick.
The little summer house. The studio. Out where he does his
All right,
writing.
come on, I'll get your breath. What's the matter?
I found him.
You what?
My husband. He's unconscious.
Oh, leave me alone. I'm fine, I tell you. I'm
darling.
fine. I'm fit as a grave digger's shovel. You twisted my ankle when I fell, that's
Here,
all.
sit down.
Now stop pawing at me, Janet. You're my wife, not my
All
secretary.
right, stop talking, you two. The side door out there's open, and there's blood on the floor where you were.
Blood is from my head. Very high quality.